Hi, welcome to this tutorial. This is a walkthrough where I speak on the importance of setting up your product catalog in TotalEnterprise. Why you should do it. Now, if you want to be able to see your income statement, something like this has been generated from TotalEnterprise. The easiest records you can keep are the final records after you have done everything, the financial significance of your operations. So like your expenses, when you go and you spend money to buy something for your business or for your production, or you spend money on bills or something like that, those can be captured as expenses. Just simple transactions where you record your expenses. Most of the software you use or you have seen are focused on the accounting end, but TotalEnterprise can help you to actually identify the breakdown of what exact items those expenses were made on. Also, since I want to talk about product setup, let's also talk about sales. Here you see a top line item called revenue, and you can see here that the income from stock sales has been lumped up together in one figure. That's great. We're able to see a total income, isn't it? We're able to see also income that is coming from services. So the total income is over here, total revenue, but we see a breakdown of income from sales and then services. That's great. It's actually fine to see this. But the problem is that when you now want to know how to improve your sales, by itself, this doesn't help you. This is just numeric. You don't know what quantity of items you sold. You don't know what specific services you might have provided. So if you are looking for more details in terms of analyzing your numbers, that's where product setup comes in. If you are looking to see a report that is like this is a sales report, and on this report you can see a breakdown that in the month of August, so there's a group which is the month. Then inside of the month we see a breakdown of product sales. We see a breakdown by the category of products and the list of items that were sold. Here we can see the item description, we can see the unit of the item, you can see the total quantities of that item that was sold in that month. We can also see the total costs. The total cost, that's talking about the direct cost. In this case, these kind of items are not manufactured by the company selling it, so it's a buying and selling kind of thing. So it means that this is the market cost at which the company Heisenberg went to buy this item, and then when they put their markup, they sold it at this price. So just basically shows you the total cost and the total sale. Okay, total cost and total sale. In other words, this is the total amount that was spent to buy, and then this is the total amount that was earned after selling the product. When you want to have such a breakdown like this, we go to the next page. You see it shows you the next category and then a breakdown of all these items. Just recording the final transaction, the sales, the income, just capturing the revenue and the total amount will not be enough to produce such a report. So to get this kind of report, that's why we have to set up our product and set up our items all the way to the end. You see that at the end of the report we have a grand total sales. So we're able to analyze that in this month, like from month to month, these are the totals, and then when you get to the end, right, you have the grand total sales for all the months within the period we are looking at the report. And then you have a cross tab at the end, and look at this wonderful cross tab. If this doesn't excite you to want to set up your products, then fine. It means you don't actually want to have direct visibility into your sales. You don't want to be able to improve. What can you do with such a report? You can know what is selling best. You can improve on your profit margins. You see, when you are looking to have extra money to maybe make some purchases for your business, you want to invest into other aspects of your business. Let's say you want to spend some money on your social media and you want to have some extra money. Instead of going to take a loan as a business person, you can be creative and look at your sales, and you can improve your customer service, and then also add more markup to your sales, your selling price, and you'll be able to get the money. Look at this particular cross tab. We see that the sales by month tallied against the product categories. Is that not just great? So this is why you want to, as a user, actually set up your product database. And so if I've been able to convince you, then that is what we want to now look at in the next video. Great. Now I want you to look at this basic setup of product. In TotalEnterprise, basic setup of a product is the item name, description of the product, the stocking unit, how do you count the units when you are buying the item or when you are selling the item, in what units do you buy them. You have bags here, for example, and then the cost price of the item, the cost at which you bought the item from the market. So this is a spreadsheet that I have created to just help you to understand and to be able to immediately fill in and put in all your products, because going from not using a software at all to begin to use a software, in fact going from not even having paper records to using a software sometimes can be confusing, because you don't even have a structure of administration, you don't even have paper records, record keeping, so it becomes a bit confusing. So I want to show you how. Here in this spreadsheet, I've separated products into 3 categories: input items, production items, and then outputs. Depending on the type of business you are into, you might not be into production at all. You might just be buying inputs and selling the input as outputs, buying and selling. But say let's talk about production. Those who are into production, like farmers and so on and so forth. Those who are into juice production and any other type of local production like soap manufacturing, something like that. What you want to do is you want to have a list of all your items that you buy as input, raw materials. You also want to have a list of all the items that you produce, like you produce from A to maybe C. A plus B is equal to C, and then maybe finally you add some value to C, some other value, maybe packaging, C plus D, and then you get E, and E is your output. So let me just illustrate that in this PowerPoint. We have our raw materials, right? Then we have processed materials, then we have finished goods. We can also call raw materials input items. We can call processed materials maybe production items, and then we can call finished goods ready stock. This is just for clarity. So think about your product in these 3 categories, then you begin to see all the things in your business that you need to list. As I said, the reason why you want to list them is if you are interested in having detailed insight into the inventory, the movement of the inventory, and you really want to do that to make sure that you are not losing money in your inventory control, because there might be theft going on, there might be waste going on, or you might be having losses during your production process. And if you are not looking at the details of the items going through production, how are you going to be able to actually see the waste? Production waste is not something that is a direct cost per se that you can immediately have on paper. It has to be estimated systematically, and the only way is if you were tracking the cost of the product from the beginning and recording their transition from raw materials into finished goods. So I believe I've convinced you enough to now begin to set up your product. Now, after you have something like this, I also want to explain this concept. So you have item A, which is, say, a raw material. What you do to it is that you perhaps add item B to it, and then you have item C, right? So let's define A as item A as a raw material. Okay, let's define item B as another raw material. Then what we now will see is, let's say we have C plus item C plus item D, okay, and we get item E. Now what's happening here is that since I need to have item C to produce item E, what I would do is that I would say this is production process 1, maybe for my business, and then production process 2. All this is for illustration. So you can look at your farm right now. You can look at your farm production, your agribusiness. You can look at your agribusiness, and then you can begin to identify the number of production processes that you have. So what's happening here is that because I need item C to do production process 2, and item C is actually created from A and B. Item C is what we call then a composite product, because it is a composite of more than one item. Then let's assume here that item D is a packaging item. Do you understand? So maybe like a bag or like a box. Great. So what we have then is that item E is, say, our final product. You might have way more processes than this. So you can have like item A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H all the way, right? But this is for illustration. This is what you have to do for your business. So you have to look at your farm or production business, your agri-business, and then you have to now identify, okay, I have 3 categories of items. What are the list of items in category 1, input items? What are the list of items in process materials? So here, let's say category 1, category 2, right? So these are product categories. So here we can see that so what is actually going to happen now in TotalEnterprise is that, and not just in TotalEnterprise, but what we are doing here, what I'm demonstrating here is building a structure for handling your product management. Before we now look at the software aspect, which is the system part that has automated or provided a digital medium for you to manage your record keeping. But the structure is independent of system. That's why I said earlier on that it can be a challenge if you've never had any record keeping on paper and you want to move straight from not having record keeping to using a system, because you don't even have the basic business administration understanding that the product has a format and you need to identify that format. You need to keep record of that. So as I showed you earlier on, in this Excel spreadsheet, you can see these three major parameters or fields that you track for a product: the item name, the stocking unit, and then the selling price. Here is TotalEnterprise dashboard, and when you go to supply settings, you can expand the supply settings menu, and there's a products page, so we can open the products page or the products form. Here I have some items that have been added already for demonstration purposes. We can look at one of them. Let's say we look at this item, Nerica rice, 50 kg. Here on the page, you notice that there are more fields than the three that are listed here. So for input items, your interest is to record the item name. Your main interest is your item name, the stocking unit, and then the cost price. Now, I advise that if you've not had any paper records per se to manage your product, your inventory, that you begin with this Excel spreadsheet format, and then you capture here all your items, which are input items. Remember, input items will fall in the category of item A, item B. Okay, so I can say here that items A and B in this production example are input items that are directly purchased from the market. Okay. Okay, and then we need to define item C well, that composite products they are not purchased, but they are produced. Not sold directly. Okay, so they are not purchased from market, they are produced, and they are not sold directly. So these are some characteristics of a composite product that I'm describing here. So item C here represents our composite product, and these are the characteristics. Item D here represents packaging item. So understand that you can have multiple packaging items. Maybe you put a foil around your product, and then you put the product which is inside the foil, wrapped in the foil or in the rubber, inside of a box. So in your case, you have two packaging materials. You have the rubber or the wrap, the foil that is wrapping the item, and then you also have the box. These two items, when you go to the market, they are two separate items that you spend money to buy. So when you are setting this up now, you set this up as an input item, packaging item here. And if you had two, for example, if I had two such packaging items, I could here then add maybe item, I can say packaging item 1 and then packaging item 2, and you have to describe your packaging items. So to be more specific, let's say you had maybe polythene, transparent polythene, and let's assume that it is sold in rolls. Okay, and let's say there are different sizes, so we want to then specify the size inside of the item name. So here you have something like 500 something like 20 feet. Maybe it is sold according to feet, and you have a cost price. Now your final product, this is what you sell for money. So this has a selling price that you specify, user specify. And then a composite product, the system will have to compute that for you. And then your input products, which are purchased from the market, are also user specified. So I'm going to turn this now into a table so that it's easier for us to read and to understand what I've just done. But essentially, this is what you need to understand about setting up your product structure. This will introduce structure, administrative structure, into how you handle products and into how you look at your record keeping for inventory management. So I want to explain why in the stocking unit I have bags for item concentrate 50 kg. Why don't I have kilograms as a stocking unit? Why do I have bags? And then why do I put the weight in the item name rather? Okay, so here's the concept of units when it comes to stock keeping or stock management that we need to understand. The stocking unit has to do with how you count your item packaging, like your items that you are buying from the market for production, or the items that you have processed for sale. Your stocking unit has to do with how you count your items. Now let's take for example this concentrate. When it is sold, it is bagged, mixed feed, put inside of a bag that is filled to the capacity that it weighs 50 kilograms. And when the manufacturer is selling, the manufacturer has standardized the sizes in which they sell this item. So they are 50 kg, perhaps they have 25 kg. They don't have 40 kg. So as a unit, there will never be a time where you are buying 40 kg, because they won't sell you 25 kg and then take another 25 kg and take 15 kg out of that and top it up for you and sell you 40 kg. They sell the item sealed, packaged, then you buy what you need and you go. So maybe you can only buy 25 kg and 50 kg. So assuming there was a time where we bought concentrate 25 kg, what we will have to do is to add that to our items list. Now, in this sense, when you are buying the concentrate, your stocking unit, I said it's about the package, how it's packaged, is in bags. So when you say I want 5, let's say you call in and you say I want to make an order, I need to order concentrate. They will ask you which size do you want? Is it the 25 kg or the 50 kg? That's the question they will ask. The size or what weight do you want? Is it 25 or 50? You say, oh, I want 25 kg. They say, okay, how many do you want? That's talking about stocking unit, stock keeping unit. How many do you want? And you say, well, I want 10 of them. Are you saying you want 10 kg? Certainly not. You are saying you want 10 bags. You want 10 bags of the 25 kg. That's what you are saying. So in total, when you buy them, you will have 250 kg. You see, but your stocking unit is not in kg, because when they ask you how many do you want to buy, what you are answering with is your stocking unit. So I hope that's clear. Now, the next question you can ask yourself to understand stocking unit is, in what packaging does the item come in? And is it weighted or is it volumetric? So let's say we were buying something like a pesticide. Okay, now let's say we have a pesticide that is not in powder form. Let's say we have a pesticide that is in liquid form. So certainly it will be put in maybe in a let's say in a bottle. Okay, let's say we have this pesticide in a bottle. Because it is liquid, in liquid form it is usually volumetric. So maybe it is 500 milliliter. Now when you call in and you say you want a number of them, they ask you how many do you want. You say maybe I need 5. Are you saying you want 5 milliliters? Certainly not. You are saying you want 5 bottles. So that's your packaging, the bottles. That's your stocking unit. So here your stocking unit is bottles. I hope you are seeing it now. Now if you feel lazy and all you do in your setup is you just do concentrate, the question is, if you buy the concentrate today, let's say you ordered for 10 bags of the 25 kg, as I said earlier on, and tomorrow you now feel like you want to buy more, you have more money now, you want to buy the 50 kg, you don't want to buy the 25 kg because you feel there's better value with the 50 kg. When you go and buy, how will you differentiate if you didn't have this item and you didn't have this item and you only bought it as concentrate, like you bought it and you recorded in your books as concentrate? Later on when you come back, without going to look at your inventory physically, how will you by the record know which size you bought? That's the problem with not putting the size inside of your item name. So the reason why I recommend to you strongly that you should put the size where that item you are buying comes in various sizes. Specify the size in the item name, but the stocking unit has to do with the packaging. So examples of packaging can be sachet, bottles, gallons, tins, cans, buckets, sacks, and bags. Now, it is possible for your stocking unit to be in scientific units, like standard scientific units, the national standard units, like like volume, mass, and so on and so forth. Kg, mg, milligrams, grams, milliliters, cubic cubic meters, like things like that. It's possible. But the only time you should use scientific units in your stocking unit is if you are able to accurately buy, produce, or measure any whole number of fractional units of the item. Let me repeat that slowly. If you, for example, are buying from a producer that allows you to weigh the weight of concentrate that you are buying, so that you can buy 48.99 kilograms and somebody can buy 12.35 kilograms, then certainly the manufacturer or the producer, when selling, has a price per kg. So when you are buying, your stocking unit is kg because there's a price per kg. That's the only time you should use the scientific unit as your stocking unit. And so in the example here, like if you look at TotalEnterprise, you have stocking units, and in the drop down we've got all these different stocking units. So some of the scientific metrics are here: Celsius, temperature, centimeter, length, and then you have feet, you have grams, you have kilograms, metric tons, and all that. They are here. So TotalEnterprise doesn't limit you when it comes to your stocking unit. You can even expand the list here. Here, when you come to your supply settings menu, you have measurement units as a form, and you can add as many as you need. And all you have to do when you add is you just have to come and refresh your page, and you have access to whatever you have added. Okay, so TotalEnterprise doesn't limit you, but you need to understand the administrative structure around your inventory management, your product management, and I'm explaining how it works. So for another example, if an item purchase is in bags of 50 kg, you don't add the item with a unit of kg. You don't add the item into your product setup. You don't add, as in you don't create a new record item that you are purchasing in bags. So I look for another example and say maybe sawdust. Okay, and let's say that I'm buying this sawdust in bags of 50 kg. I don't have to come and choose kg here as stocking unit, because I can't buy 15.56 units of sawdust. I can't buy 15.56 kg of sawdust. That makes a lot of sense. It's clear. I can only buy what the manufacturer has standardized: 50 kg bag, 25 kg bag, maybe 100 kg bag. That's it. So with that understanding, then I have to now say that the stocking unit is bags, and then I can put my size or my weight in the item name. That's what I have to do. You see, and then I can indicate my cost price. So let's say here my cost price is, let's say 500, and then I save. So here I am with sawdust now added as a product. This is how to do your item setup, your product structure correctly. So you do this for your input items, and then you do this for your production items. So if an item purchase is in bags of 50 kg, you don't add the item into your product structure with a unit, with a stocking unit of kilograms. If you cannot possibly buy 48 kilograms as an example, because the weights are standard for that item, then that is why you have to then add the weights into your item name and not put it there, not put the kilograms as your stocking unit. If, however, the weights are measured for you according to your demand, then you can stock up maybe 45.9 kilograms units of that item. Then definitely your stocking unit is in kilograms. Okay, so I'll use an example of, say, you are going to a farmer to buy, let's say you are going to a farmer to buy maize seeds, and how this farmer sells is that he actually fetches the quantity you want. He has a scale, and then he pours it on the scale according to what you are looking for, and then gives you a price based on the weight. If that's how that farmer is selling, then you are buying and stocking in kilograms, and there is a cost price, a unit cost to your per kilogram. So that's what you're going to put there. So you're going to put the unit cost per kg into cost price, because here the cost price here is actually per item cost price, or in other words, you can say per unit cost price. So this per bag cost price. This is where I had concentrate 50 kg. This is where I had concentrate 25 kg. So here I can have a per unit cost. So for this particular farmer, because he sells by weighing, then maybe he has a price like 10 new leons per kg. That's the only time when you are setting up your product structure. You don't add the size to the maize, because at one time in a batch you might buy 100.56 kg. In another time when you buy, you might buy 550.76 kg. So far as the units is what is measured, and you are paying according to the unit, this is what you are paying according to, that is your stocking unit. So I think I've explained this very clearly, and this should be very clear right now. So this is how you know whether your unit is the scientific metric or the standard packaging material in which the item you are buying comes in. Now, I've already said this, so I'll repeat it again for emphasis. For standard packages, it is advisable to include the weight or volume of the item in your item description, so it's easy to identify different sizes, so that it is easy for you to identify the different sizes of concentrates that you are buying. Include the weight, your weight in your description, or your volume, like this one. Maybe they have a pesticide container which is also in liters. Maybe it's a gallon, 4 liters, right? So gallon, that's going to be my stocking unit. So according to how you set this up is how you're going to also fill the form here and save and create as many of the products into TotalEnterprise as you have. Great.